We'll first cover the bulk operation through the user interface. Well, the first thing is the administrative data. So there are many, when I say administrative data, it's the things like users, sites, institutes. So when you want to set up a new group, the research groups or biobank in Open Specimen, you might want to create multiple users, multiple sites, containers, and so on. So there is bulk operations available for even administrative data. So we'll look at that. So I'm going to use public demo site. So for those of you who are new, we have a demo site which is publicly accessible, which is just demo.openspecimen.org. And we always have the latest release updated here. So right now, the release that we have updated is, released is 9.0, and we are currently working on 9.1. And as soon as I log in, this is the home page. So now, first to show you some of the administrative bulk operations, I'll go to users. So here, so in order to do bulk operations, you see that in the user list, you have this checkbox. You can click on that. And as soon as you click, you see that the options over here have changed. So these operations are available for multiple users. Now, if you want to say edit all the users institute or some maybe primary site of that user or something, you can use this bulk edit operation. So when you do that, it will show you this form. So only these fields you're able to edit for multiple users at a time. And when I go back, I'll show you some more. So again, when I select these, so you see this is one of the new features where you can now create user groups. User groups now can be used in multiple places like sharing cards, sharing query folders, those kind of things can be used as user groups. So you can add multiple users into this user group. You can archive users. Suppose now a particular group is not using Open Specimen, and you want to archive a lot of users, so you can just select them and archive. So what I mean by archive is the data about these users will still exist in Open Specimen, but they'll not be able to log in anymore. And if they have been archived, you want to reactivate, you can do that. You can delete, you can unlock users, or if there are a lot of signed up users, you can approve them and so on. So these are some of the user interface level bulk operations that are available for users. And one of the other new features that we have done is, suppose I search for something. So let's say I search for specific institute users, and I click on a particular user. So you see on the left-hand side, that list is still existing. So it's kind of like you can edit even in this manner, that you can click on any user now for the ones that I search for, and I can edit from this screen as well. So this kind of screen we have done in many list pages where, let me just go back. So if you see this, I can go back to the table view, and you see that whatever I searched for, it's still there. So that's not lost. So when I search something from the filters, and when I click, the search results are still shown, and I can do bulk operations or bulk edits like this by clicking on each one of them. So this is one of the new things that we have done on the list views. The next, again, the similar kind of edits are possible in other administrative data like sites, institutes, containers, and so on. They are more at the level of, say, for example, if I go to containers, and if I try to select the containers and just show you. So if I select, so right now, if you see, these are the only two operations available. I can delete or I can export. This export option is there for all administrative data. This is useful if you want to export the administrative data setups from one server, that is maybe the testing or the training server, and move it to another server. You can use export import feature. So when I say export, it only exports the structure of the freezer. So suppose you have multiple -80 freezers you have set up, which has racks, shelves, boxes, and so on. So those freezer structures you can export. And then once you have exported those files, which is in a CSV file, on the production server, you can just import them. So you don't have to recreate new freezers on production server. So this export import, as I said, is available for users, sites, institutes, containers, so that you can move the setups from one server to another easily. Yeah. So those are some of the user interface operations, bulk operations available at the administrative data level. Now, similarly, if you go to biospecimen data, so let me go now inside a collection protocol and go to, say, participants list view. So you see, again, there are checkboxes over here. And if I try to click, I get these options. I can either edit or delete. So I can edit, and you see I get an option to select a field. So here I can say, okay, and these are the only fields that are available. Suppose I want to set the same race for both of those, whatever patients I selected, I can set that. Now I can select more fields. Suppose I want to set the gender. So I don't know the gender of these patients, so I can select that and update. So this way, what I'm trying to now do is bulk edit multiple participants at a time. And I can edit any number of fields like this, and the same value will be applied for all those patients that I just selected. So that's the participant level bulk operation. Similarly, we have this user interface bulk operations for specimen. So now this is very important part, because in daily operations, you mostly deal with specimens, and that's the reason we have supported this bulk operations of specimens in multiple pages, and that is through this actions button. So this actions button, you'll see multiple places wherever you see a list of specimens. So I'm going to give you some examples. One is when you're inside a protocol, and when you go to view specimens, you see this actions. So now suppose I select multiple specimens, and when I click on this actions, I see a lot of options over here. I can edit the specimen fields, I can print labels, delete the specimens, close them, distribute, ship, receive, and so on. Create child specimens, transfer them from one location to another, add events, like if you want to add, say, centrifugation event, freeze event, and so on. So there are multiple things you can do from here, this actions button. And now this actions button, I'll give you a few lists where you can do. So one is this within the containers, when you are inside a box, for example, you see there is the specimens. And if I go to the specimens tab within the containers, again, I see this actions button. So now imagine you have a box in hand, and you want to do the same operation for all the specimens in that box. So maybe you did a centrifugation on all these specimens. So you select them, add event, then I'll make sure that the specimens are correct. Then I go to next. Then I can add spun event. So now what this would do is it will add spun event for all the specimens in that box. Of course, I can either select subset of also the specimens also, but I had selected all of them. And if you see, there is two modes. One is the form or the table mode. I'll first show you what the form mode is. So the form mode is you can just add one kind of data elements for all the specimens. So the same data would be added to all the specimens I selected. Or if I select the table mode, it would show the spun event fields in a table mode. So this is useful if the G-force is different for multiple specimens in this group that I selected. So these are two different options you can do: bulk, add, edit for events. And again, going back, that actions menu is there in the container specimens list view, protocol specimen list view, and within the patient, when, say, for example, I'm inside a patient, and if I am inside a visit, if I select multiple specimens, I again get this actions menu. So you get this actions menu, as I said, in wherever you see list of specimens, you'll see this actions menu. The other important pages are the cards. So there is this card, which is like a pick list you can create. And within that pick list, if you see again, you have this actions menu, and it's there finally in the query results view as well. So all these pages, you have this actions menu where you can do bulk operations through the user interface for multiple specimens at a time. Now, when you are inside the protocol, there is one another advantage is that if you have custom fields of specimens, even those can be bulk edited. I don't know if this protocol has any custom fields. Let's give it a try. Oh, it's not there. But when you're within the collection protocol, and if there are specimen custom fields, even those can be bulk edited for the specimens if you go from actions and edit. So those are some of the bulk operations available from the user interface. Now moving on, so as we saw that from these bulk operations, there's easy UI navigation, and through that list view kind of page where you can select and edit, that's also possible.